Look at these numbers. COVID impact on economic status. You see, those who are viewing our program will be middle class, a number of middle class Indians. COVID impact on economic status. A black swan event has occurred 2020-21, Rahul, and Russia-Ukraine. Income gone down 46%. Income gone up is only 19%. No change is 34%. So 80% of Indians have said that income has either gone down or there is no change. This is on the back of concern over unemployment and rising prices. Your current expenses versus last year, difficult to manage 63%, up but manageable 27%, down 9%. And then you ask economic status since 2014, worsened is 36%, improved 28%, same is 31%. So the paradoxes that we've been speaking about. Mr. Modi's popularity high, but on all the key issues that might affect people on a day-to-day basis, there is a serious problem. And therefore, Shankar Iyer, we are coming back to it, that the economy remains presumably the one red flag that this government has. When I looked 10 years ago at Manmohan Singh's performance in the mood of the nation, 75 to 80% said he had failed to control inflation. And therefore they were willing to vote him out. Now people are not willing to vote out Mr. Modi, but they are concerned with their pockets. They are concerned about the lack of Achhe Din. How do you explain this paradox?
Well, just like in industry and in markets, there is a need for a competitive narrative. Mr. Modi's ratings are higher despite the economic, the indication that you see in the poll is a reflection on the opposition that there is no competitive idea or parallel that is being provided. Rating agency CRISIL recently put out a report on inflation which shows that 8 states have better than national average, lower than 4% food inflation. Nobody is discussing within the political parties. Some of the states are ruled by opposition parties. These include Goa, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Manipur, etc. There is no discussion on it. There is room for finding out what is going right and what is going wrong, but the political parties, the opposition, have not engaged in any useful way with the government, and neither is the government given any room for the opposition to engage with them.
But Shankar, let me stop you. Raj, the fact is, we have Supriya Shirate from the opposition. Opposition will say, look, we did a Black Friday yesterday, we did protests, we went into detention. Arvind Kejriwal is raising his own debate on freebies and welfare schemes. What more are we supposed to do? That is their view, that you are constantly telling us where is the narrative, where is the narrative. We are trying to build it, but perhaps it's not echoing for the lack of credibility of the opposition or the lack of consistency. How do you see it? These numbers would normally suggest a high level of anti-incumbency, but that we don't see at the moment.
As I said, there are 2 factors. One is, of course, definitely the opposition hasn't lived up to its name in any way. That's there. And of course, people's acceptance that there were 2 black swan events that created the kind of economic troubles that were there, though this might have happened much earlier. As Supriya was saying, even before the pandemic hit us, our economy was down. I think that the freebie debate and others is just a side debate in some senses. This government has to understand, if the big message that is coming from this poll is really that the economy is in deep distress. Whatever questions that we have asked so far indicate clearly that people are unhappy. They're still betting on the government because they don't see the opposition deliver, and they think Mr. Modi will still do it.
But my concern is... Sorry, is it the opposition, or is it the fact, as we saw in Uttar Pradesh, that a large number of people who are really hurting are actually getting free ration, for example?
Yeah, but
so the beneficiaries are there.
That's my concern. The moment you get too much into welfare and freebies, you're really not... see, I think at a certain point, people will say, fine, I'm getting this, but I want an increased income. People are aspirational. They get used to this. You have to provide at the end of the day jobs and income for them so that they feel like all of us do, right? We have needs. We want our children to do better. We need better things. They also do that. They're not happy with just being, given a dole. So the pride, I think the main thing is the pride of the people is not in getting doles. The pride of the people is in getting a job, looking good. And I think this government has to do it on a crisis mode. My concern is that the government is not seeing this as a crisis. And there, I think I agree with Supriya. There is a sense that, yeah, it's fine, inflation is fine, this is okay, don't worry.
We're better off than the rest of the world.
I think it's time that the government said there are 4 or 5 big crises that has to be addressed in, we were talking earlier of a support caste. You need a support cast in this, in the sense it just can't be Mr. Modi. There has to be many, many crisis groups that says, okay, the rupee is falling, what am I going to do? There's jobs happening here, what am I going to do? There's prices happening here, and get top economists on the job. I mean, you've got the best talent that's there. Why aren't you employing them? Why can't you say that, look, this is a crisis all of us have to face.